Dear students, let us begin with the second part of the lesson on India's economic relations with China, in which we will discuss about India's economic development and partly on India-China economic relations. Let us discuss about India's economic development. India has command and respect in the world today due to reasons similar to China's economic growth, except that the journey towards the same happened much later. It since independence had followed a socialist pattern of economic development to tackle the social and economic threats. The then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's slogan of Garibi Hatao and the policies of ensuring egalitarian growth for all through means of increased government spending on curbing private business investment and production through excessive taxes and license permits impositions did not reduce poverty at all till 1983. Rather, with the doubling up of population since 1947, poverty too increased, and the subsequent increased government spending led to drying up of foreign exchange reserves in 1991. When India's foreign currency reserves fell exponentially in the early 1990s, it realized the need for opening up to world economies for investment, which preordained the need for economic restructuring and market reforms. The adoption of market liberalization norms transformed India from a poor, slow-growing country to one of the largest GDPs in the world, and an average annual growth rate of 8 to 10% became a norm. Foreign direct investment, for instance, increased from 81.72 billion US dollars in 2020 to 2021 to a peak of 83.57 billion US dollars in 2021 to 2022. The World Economic Outlook for 2016 termed India and the US as the two pillars of strength holding up world economy. The country has been lauded internationally for the reduction of its tariffs and other non-tariff barriers. These reforms gave rise to burgeoning middle class that was able to improve its conditions of living through higher incomes and better socio-economic indicators of health, education and infrastructure. The economic advancement of India, like China, is a mixed bag and displays private sector growth beside dismal government institution performance. Today, one can observe that India has indeed come a long way. Its economy is the fastest growing in the world, a hub of IT services, a de facto nuclear weapon state. Its armed forces are highly professional and its democratic institutions are robust. All these factors attracted global attention and appreciation. With the ascendancy in world affairs, India has aspired for leading positions in several world and regional organizations of significance. It shows that there has been a shift in adopting strategic autonomy and issue-based alliances as the norm in foreign policy formulation. Rapid economic growth of China and India rendered cooperation and coordination as compelling for the two Asian neighbors. But the same reasons have also created rivalry and competition between the two aspiring world powers. Let us discuss about economic relations between India and China. India-China bilateral relations has several dimensions such as political, economic, strategic and geophysical. Positivity and optimism in any one sphere cannot design the overall relationship. However, every aspect has something to contribute. Business interests are more specific than other elements. This is because private economic actors would pressurize governments to avert aggression. This holds true to some extent in India-China bilateralism as well. The two countries, despite having seen several ups and downs, entered into a trade agreement in 1984 to provide each other with the most favored nation status in the trading relationship. In 1994, a double taxation agreement was signed between them, marking a new high in the economic relationship realm. In 2003, the Nathula border connecting Sikkim to Tibet was opened to trade after more than 4 decades of closure, which was effected in the aftermath of the Sino-Indian border war. Similarly, India and China have entered into joint bids for obtaining several projects in energy resources. For instance, in 2005 and 2006, the China National Petroleum Company and the Oil and Natural Gas Corporation made joint bids for shares in the Great Nile oil project in Sudan, the Al Furat oil field in Syria, and the Omimex of Colombia. Thus, over the years, the economic relations have progressed to China being India's largest trading partner. The value of the two-way trade stands at $115.83 billion in 2021. Both countries, owing to their huge markets and low manufacturing cost compared to Western nations, stand as lucrative business destinations for several investment companies. Moreover, India and China do not particularly compete in the international market, owing to India's base in items which are mostly raw materials such as cotton, ores, slag and ash, organic chemicals, salt, sulfur and earths and stones, etc., while for China it is a primary goods such as electrical appliances, electronic gadgets, plastics, toys, pharmaceuticals, iron and steel, fertilizers, ship, boat and floating structures and other articles of daily use. The two-way trade has not been as advantageous to India as it has to China. India has over the years acquired a huge trade deficit with China, owing to its imports exceeding by several $billion to its exports. I hope you understood about India's economic development and India-China economic relations. We will continue our discussion on their economic relations in the next video. Thank you.